Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real AFTV podcast, where we usually talk about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. But I'd like to welcome you to our home and welcome you to the video. This is a Thanksgiving special. Why don't you come on in? I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I'm Tim Wagner.
What if we just kept those voices up for the whole podcast? People would be like, first listeners would be like, what the fuck is these guys' deals?
Yeah, what?
One of them was like a scratchy, short British guy or something? What's going on there?
Yeah, this kid is pretty sure is like related to Julia Childs or something. I don't know what that was.
It was kind of a Julia Child. Well, that's a perfect way to start a Thanksgiving special. Right?
That's kind of what I was going for, because we were like all jazzy and it's Thanksgiving special, and I'm like, whatever. Oh, let's cook the bird.
Oh shit, that was great. Totally caught me off guard. Like I didn't see that coming at all. I thought you were just gonna like roll with my mellow vibe, and all of a sudden you come out with this like Julia Child voice. Whoa, fuck.
Hey, watch out now.
I'm a bad improv partner, I guess.
Julia Child's coming at you.
Right. I get caught off guard. I start laughing and fuck up. What am I, Jimmy Kimmel? Oh, Jimmy Fallon. Sorry, Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, right. Jimmy Fallon.
My bad. That guy laughed at every fucking sketch.
Oh, dude, every time. Okay, back in it.
The son of a bitch did have to deal with Will Ferrell, though. That must have been one of the hardest jobs on earth.
Oh, yeah. God, and some of the sketches he had were like legitimately hilarious. So I get where he like has a hard time holding it together.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're a professional, dude.
You're also on SNL, right?
Yeah, come on. You have to do this every week, Jimmy.
Right.
This is your job.
Pay you for. Oh shit! All right, let's not dwell on SNL. Woo! Did you catch that rhyme?
Oh, I heard it. Well,
I didn't even try,
SNL.
but I knew it.
That's tasty.
Well, shit, man. Here is our. I said it, and we're doing it. Hopefully, the frame rate holds up, because as we film this, we don't know. The internet will be a fickle pickle.
A fickle pickle. Just rhyming today.
I guess so. I just couldn't stop it. So here we are. Public video. Thank you to all the $1 Patreon that supported us while we were in beta mode. But we're dropping that out. It doesn't mean that the Patreon is not have other stuff. But this is this is a holiday special. Let's not keep sitting here chit-chatting and doing all that shit that we're doing right now. Let's jump into Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You already said it. We're just going to start with the bird dude, because I know that you have already made a turkey this year. And there was something special. There was something special about it. And we haven't talked about it, so I want to hear.
Yeah.
Did you brine that thing?
Oh, dry brined it.
A dry brine, because so last year you said in the Thanksgiving podcast, you're like, never brined it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he told me you brined it. Okay, so a dry brine.
Yes.
Let's just make a cooking show. Let's go, Tim.
Cooking show it is. Oh, so a dry brine. No, I'm not gonna do that all day. So dry brine. So if people don't know, brine is basically you're just adding salt to the bird for the most part. So a wet brine, you put like, for the most part, it's salt and sugar in water, and then you soak the whole thing in it. You can do it with a bird. You can do it with any meat. You just put it in there for a while.
I never heard
And
about it doing with red meat before.
yeah, you can. I mean, the funny thing is like with red meat, they
Mhm.
always call it. It's more of like a marinade,
Oh,
which
duh.
is
I
a
just never
brine.
put the 2 together.
Yeah, brine's like the same thing, except for the marinade is like more potent. Like the flavor stays on the outside almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and more seasoning, less salt. Like you were saying, I think the big thing
Yeah,
about, like, brining poultry is that it's a lot of salt to really, like, get to set the osmosis in motion.
yeah, and like you said, a lot more flavor. Like the red meat is just it can handle it. The
Mm,
birds are like a more delicate meat, and if you tried to marinate some of that stuff,
mhm,
unless it was like marinated chicken breast or whatever, you tried to marinate a whole bird, I don't know, it
mm,
might get weird. Also,
yeah.
like to marinate a whole bird, that's so much marinade. So that's probably another part of it. Like you can
Right,
get
right, right.
away with putting salt in some water. It's not that big of a
Right, a
deal.
lot of
But
salt
to
and water, you're like, "Eh, no big
yeah,
deal."
yeah, what's a gallon of marinade cost? $30. I don't know.
I
Just
don't know, you're
like
the one with the Sam's Club membership, you should look.
right, we can go check it out. Need a gallon of marinade. Sam's Club is just like we only sell it in 5-gallon buckets. And I got Costco now. They got
Oh,
Costco in
okay,
town, so
okay.
we went with Costco
You
for
made the
right
switch.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
anyways,
it's got
dry
different
brine.
stuff.
Oh, yeah, for
Sam's
sure,
Club is
for
the
sure.
same shit as Walmart, just bigger.
Just in the bulk size, yep.
Yeah. So dry brine, the wet brine, you put water and sugar in water, or you put salt and sugar in water, and then you
Mhm,
soak the whole thing, and then you can add like peppercorns and a bay leaf and all that shit to try to get some flavor in there and
mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
But the dry brine, all you do is take like what I did. I learned it from America's Test Kitchen. Dude, if you don't watch America's Test Kitchen, or if you're looking for a good fucking TV show to watch, America's Test Kitchen is the fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm making note right now because I know of them, I know about them, I've definitely read things from them.
Yeah.
I'm not a deep dive on America's Test Kitchen, but
Oh,
everybody
dude.
gives the old fist pump to them.
I've been
Everybody does.
watching I've been watching them for a long time because they're on PBS. And like when I'm up at the cabin,
Oh,
there's not a
nice.
lot of options. There's like 4 different PBS channels up there.
Right.
And and you're
It's like
yeah,
fishing, that's the daytime activity. What do you do
yeah.
right away when you wake up in the morning and you're having your coffee?
Oh,
PBS?
hell yeah. You turn it on and you're like, there's 2 things you're hoping for. You're like, America's Test Kitchen or Bob Ross. Come on, baby. One of those 2, let's be on. And then you
That's
get like
awesome.
you get Steven Reichlin where he's grilling and you're like, all right, I like grilling too, but Steven Reichlin's not, he just doesn't have the charisma. He's but no, what's always on? Rick Steves Europe. And you're like, I don't give a fuck about Europe, Rick Steves.
You're not even talking about food, it's so
No,
boring.
he talks about Europe and it's on the Create network. Like, what the fuck am I creating? Shitty memories? Like, I don't give a fuck. I want to I only want to go to Europe to experience it myself. I don't want to
Right, right,
hear
right,
some guy talk about it.
right. "Look at these cobblestone streets, they're over 600 years old.
I'm at a
America."
lake. Yeah.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm at a lake right now, Rick Steves. I'm out in nature. I don't need your bullshit. Show me how to cook something while I'm sitting here or get the fuck out of my face.
We're 7 minutes in, and we're still haven't talked about this brine.
Just
We mentioned
oh
dry brine 7 minutes ago, and we're still haven't talked about
been
it.
I've been waiting for a platform to tell Rick Steves to go fuck himself. Here it is.
A year and a half after we start the podcast.
Just never thought about it till now, but now it came up, and I'm just like, Rick Steves, if you ever see this shit, get your ass off. There's like 4 other PBS channels. Tell PBS, put me on a different one. I'm not
Put
creating
me on
shit here.
2-2, damn it.
Yeah, why the fuck you want to create? This create. It's called Create, Rick Steves. Anyways,
Oh,
so so
okay, so
dry
you're dry
brine,
brining.
yeah, which I learned from them. You just take salt and sugar.
Not Rick Steves, though, to be clear.
No, not Rick
America's
Steves. Rick
Test
Steves didn't
Kitchen,
tell you
say it
nothing.
again.
He didn't tell you how to like dig up some dirt or something. I don't know. It's
America's
honestly
Test Kitchen.
every time I turn on that show, he's just walking around pointing at shit, and you're like, "Fucking a."
I should have never said his name again.
You immediately, dude. I would turn it to the native channel and watch the Berenstain Bears talking the native tongue because they have an a native
Oh,
channel
American
where
Indian.
it's like, yeah, it's like the American Indian.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're saying.
What
I
they're
would
saying.
rather watch the Berenstain Bears in American English, native language, whatever you call that,
Yep.
over Rick Steves pointing at shit in Europe. Fucking A. That's what they got. I don't know, but for whatever reason, the natives dub over Berenstain Bears. Anyway,
Good show.
anyways, this is a
Okay.
good show.
So your dry
The
brine
Berenstain
in
Bears.
America's Test Kitchen taught you how to dry brine, which I'd never even heard of before.
So I don't even think that they call it dry brine, but there are
Oh.
different dry brines out there,
Mhm.
and some of them tell you to put it like right on top of the skin. Some of them
Oh.
are saying only to put salt on it and stuff.
Okay.
America's Test Kitchen put salt and sugar, and then you rub it underneath the skin. So you're like
Oh,
underneath
yeah.
on the breasts and on the legs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that. I ended up tearing the shit out of the skin because it was already tore to begin with.
Oh,
So I didn't
you
get that
got one of
nice,
those.
like, I mean, half of the breast was like exposed.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I left that. So I did that. We had the turkey on Sunday. I put that dry brine on Friday night. So then it
Okay.
sat in the fridge covered for 12 hours
Nice.
about.
Mhm.
And then the next night, this is where I went with Gordon Ramsay's recipe. And
Oh,
I
so
put,
you combined recipes.
yes, I was looking at a bunch of different stuff, and I was like,
Mhm.
all the parts that somebody said, we're doing this now. And I went,
Yeah,
ooh,
dude.
yeah. Then I was
Yeah,
like,
dude.
that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So after the dry brine, I took what he has is a butter, and he puts lemon zest, lemon,
Nice.
butter, fresh chopped parsley. He went with salt and pepper. I skipped the salt and pepper because I already did that dry brine. I was like, I don't want to oversalt it.
Oh, right. Yep. Okay.
So that, and then I can't remember.
Was it?
Oh, garlic,
Oh, okay.
and garlic.
Yep.
So put all that stuff in, stirred the butter, and then did the same thing with
So the
where I did
butter's
like the salt
melted,
and
I
stuff.
assume, at this point?
Soften,
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like it looks
Like
like
room
butter, but
temp, nice, soft, like
yes,
73-degree butter.
yeah, buddy. And then
Yeah.
I put that up underneath there and gave her an old massage with the butters and got in underneath the skin on the legs and on the breasts and stuff. And then I let that sit overnight uncovered,
Mhm.
which the butter kept the skin moist. But one
Oh,
of the things, like
okay.
America's Test Kitchen said to leave it sit out, they were saying like 42 hours with the dry brine,
What?
and you leave it sit uncovered the whole time because then the skin dries out and it gets all crispy when you cook it.
42
Which,
hours?
dude, I don't know. It
Holy
sounds crazy,
shit.
but I guess with the dry brine, the salt draws out all the moisture from the
Sure.
salt,
Yeah.
but then it like mixes with the salt and the bird naturally absorbs it back in.
As you're cooking it, as you, like
No, before you cook it while it's sitting in the fridge.
what?
So it brings all that salty moisture back into the bird and it like realigns the molecules in the meat and stuff. So it holds on to
Osmosis.
it holds on to the liquid better. And I'm telling you, man, that was the juiciest turkey I've ever. The breasts were like off the fucking charts.
What?
Yeah, it was so dope. Well, plus I
Only
did that
after sitting
butter.
in the dry brine for 12 hours.
Well, I
And
mean
then
I did that butter part too.
right, exactly.
And because of Gordon Ramsay's recipe, I put
Mhm.
it in the oven. So you put it at like 425. He's
Mm.
all Celsius, so it was like
Mhm.
220 Celsius.
Okay.
for, he said like 15 minutes. I saw other recipes that said like 45
Jeez.
just to get the skin crispy. And I think the
Oh.
45 probably would have been better
Okay.
because it didn't do a whole lot at the 15-minute mark. But I'm like, whatever, this is how we're doing it. I don't want to overcook the thing.
Right.
So you take it back out and then you put strips of bacon over
Oh
the
God.
breasts. Yeah.
Oh God.
So,
Just the
and
breast, so like in between the legs, essentially, right? Like or in between the
right.
drummies.
Yep. But in hindsight, like the the legs got like too hot. Like
Oh.
the legs temped out way higher, like 200 degrees.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, but the breast temped out perfect, and the dark meat's supposed to temp out higher, but
Yeah, but drummies aren't really dark meat,
yeah,
are
the
they?
wings are not. The drummies are,
You got me.
yeah. So, well, I guess it's like that's what some people call the drummies. Are, they look like legs, but they're the
Yeah.
bicep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. They're called
um,
legs. Yeah. I get it.
but the legs and the thighs are dark meat, and
Yep.
then the
I know
breasts and the
thighs.
wings are white meat.
Yep. Okay.
So, um, yeah, I probably would try to do bacon over everything because some of the other recipes I
Mm.
saw do like a tinfoil shield over the breasts
Oh,
so that it doesn't cook faster over the rest of
interesting.
them.
Interesting.
So, but Gordon Ramsay did the bacon, and I'm like, fuck it, the bacon
You're like, fuck yeah,
should,
bacon.
yeah, it should hold down the heat. Plus, it's like just basting it the whole time.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking is like, oh my God, that
Yeah,
fat, it's the perfect addition. It's just gonna
but
melt. Oh
yeah,
God.
exactly. Plus the butter on there. But like when I was doing my research, according to Alton Brown, basting
Oh,
doesn't do dick. He
yes,
said it.
it doesn't. That's
Yeah,
what
he
I've
said it
heard.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yep. And you
but
trust AB, man. We've talked about him several times on the
yeah,
podcast, like how we're
yep,
Goodies fan. You have fucking Goodies on DVD. I bought the like
yeah,
second to most recent season on Apple. Like we definitely trust Alton, and I've actually seen
mm-hmm,
that in several places. So the first time I cooked a turkey too, not to like totally take you off your thought, sorry, but yeah, didn't baste, and it was just because I think it was Alton, and he's just like, don't open the
yeah,
fucking oven; it messes with the
right,
temperature.
exactly. And side note, back to America's Test Kitchen. America's Test Kitchen is like having a whole squad of Altons.
Oh, I know. It's like it's
That's why
like
it's awesome.
the it's like the Harvard of cooking culinary school, but
Yeah,
they're documenting it all while they
mm-hmm.
do it and just putting it on the internet.
Yeah, and then they'll come out and they'll even tell you sometimes. They'll be like, "We tried this and this, but it wasn't quite right, so that's why we're doing this."
Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
Alton's got all the science down and he's telling you everything he does.
Right.
But anyways, side note. So
Yep.
putting that bacon on it, I'm cooking it and stuff. I temp it out um early. You take it out. You gotta make sure that if you cook it
Mhm.
to the done temperature,
Mhm.
then it's overcooked. You gotta cook it to like 165 and then let the fucking thing rest.
And let it rest. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I got it to the right temperature and then I took it out and I took that thing out around, well, here's where I screwed up. I had the bacon on and the skin did not get crispy underneath, which I knew was going to happen. But
Right.
I took it out to temp it and then I was going to take the bacon off.
Okay.
And when I did that part,
Mhm.
everything temped out. I should have checked it earlier. So I'm like, well, I
Oh.
guess the chicken breast skin just doesn't get crispy because it's done now, and I'd rather have it be done properly over
Right. I
fucking.
gotcha.
So I took that, covered it up with tinfoil, and then put a towel on it so it would like retain the heat.
Uh-huh.
But I let that thing rest. I think it was done at like 10 o'clock, and we ate around noon.
Oh,
It
wow.
rested for like 2 hours. It
For
was
like 2
still
hours.
hot, and it was juicy as hell. I've never had white
No
meat.
way, dude.
I've never had white meat that juicy before. It was so good.
Really?
And one of the ladies that was there, because this was a little Friendsgiving thing,
Yep.
we were eating, and just with like all the food, her quote was, "This is what I've been waiting for us to become adults and then make the food that we had when we were younger, but go above what they were at. Like she's like, this is what we need. We need a more advanced
Elevate that
level.
dry shit that we always had while we were kids.
Yeah. There's a,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it. There's a
Nope.
big helicopter.
Oh shit. Nope. It's not picking up. Not that I can
So,
hear. So I don't know.
so
Hopefully the
yeah,
listeners don't. Anyway.
and then I take, like, as that's resting. Oh, there are yellow onions,
Okay.
lemons, rosemary, all
Yep.
this in the cavity of the bird.
Like
So
you
no
just jammed it
stuffing.
in, just jammed it inside without, where I
Yep,
guess
just jammed
people
it in
make
there.
stuffing.
Yeah, but don't do that because stuffing dries out your bird. It just sucks all the juices out.
Yeah, I was gonna. Have you actually ever? We didn't talk about that last year. I don't think. Have you ever made stuffing inside the bird?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I've
This is my
never
first
seen
time
that.
ever
Never
making
been
a
a part of
turkey.
it ever.
This is my first turkey I've ever made.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
and it
And you
turned out
nailed.
bomb.
Well, you nailed it, but you learned some
Yeah,
shit. Like
right,
before we started recording, you said I fucked it up, but
right.
I did it, and I'm like, okay, wait, what do you mean? So
Yeah,
like, from your point of view, what do you think you fucked up? Because
it was
I
that
just
bacon
hear,
part.
what's that?
It was that bacon part. Like I didn't make the skin crispy. It didn't look good.
Mm.
Like, so because I did that, like, parsley and butter underneath the skin, all the butter melted,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
Mm-hmm.
just have chunks of parsley underneath there. So there's like all these green
Mm-hmm.
dots underneath these almost like translucent skin.
Oh,
So when you
okay.
see these pictures of these like perfectly golden birds,
Yeah.
mine look like some old fucking liver spotted shit.
Shitty bird.
They had to explain to everybody, it's just parsley. It's parsley.
Parsley, just letting you know it's not. We did something similar. I can't say that it was necessarily Gordon's recipe, but I did do the peel back the skin, put all the butter
Mm,
underneath. I talked about this last year a little bit. Um, I don't recall that happening, but I know we had fresh herbs. Like we had the fresh herb thing,
okay. Yeah.
and it was all in there. So I'm just curious. I wonder why. I don't know, but I totally get what you're saying because you see
Oh,
those
well, if
spots
you,
on meat, right? Like
yeah,
those darker spots, and people just kind of go,
yeah,
"Oh, I thought this was a
you,
breast. That's what's
yeah,
with the
you
dark spot
probably
on this
just,
white meat."
right, you probably just didn't cover it up. Like the legs looked beautiful. So you probably
Sure.
just didn't cover it up, and then you had like good brown skin, and then you don't see any of that shit, you know?
Oh, okay.
So
I might do
like
the bacon this year
my
though, man. I think I'm gonna take that.
yeah, I think it works. Just think about how long you have, and I'd probably say like go in there and try to take that bacon off like an hour in advance. But the nice part about the
Okay.
bacon is, so I told you about the onions and the lemons and stuff that I put in there, and I didn't do the lemons, but I think it would have been beneficial when you
Mm-hmm.
pull it out. You
Mm-hmm.
take those onions that you've cooked in the bird, and
Okay.
you chop that up now, and you take the bacon that's been on top of the bird and you chop
Yeah.
that up now,
Yeah.
and now you're putting all this stuff in to make your gravy. You see?
Oh.
Yeah. So you're cooking up them onions and you're cooking up that bacon, and then you're, you know, he calls for like chopping up the lemon and throwing that in there too.
What?
And I think the acidity might have cut down on some of the saltiness, and I think that would have
Yeah.
worked, but I didn't do that part because I was just like, I don't know about lemon in a gravy, but I
Uh-huh.
mean, I should have probably just went with it, but I didn't.
Right.
And I was like, it just tastes, it's a good gravy, but I think that lemon might have like brought it up another notch, you know, that
Yeah. Like
you
it
put
needed
that,
that the acidity, the
yeah,
acid
the is,
balance.
yep.
Yeah.
And then I put in like also chopped up carrots and threw it in there, and then threw more rosemary in there, and
Nice.
he puts parsley in there, and he,
And
dude,
who's he? Is this
his.
Gordon's still?
So now I'm back to America's Test Kitchen
Oh,
for
okay.
the gravy, but
Okay.
I add, you know, he uses the bacon, so I use the bacon.
Yep.
His gravy is, dude, he's like putting so much shit in there. He's got like this giant pan of stuff, and he's just sauteing up all this crap. It's crazy. And America's Test Kitchen is like, we do this and then like put some water in there and stuff. And you're like, yeah, I like the way you guys are rolling with this, so I'm gonna go with that one. So, you just chop up. It was onions and rosemary and all that stuff, and I sautéed it and stuff and got all that cooking. Oh, here's the cool part too. You take all the drippings from the the pan, so you have like all the juices and stuff, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you pour that out, and I have this. Um, it's like a pancake maker thing where you put the batter in this pancake maker and then
Okay.
it has a hole on the bottom and you just squeeze the handle and it like
Oh,
drops
that
out.
kind of pancake maker.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm following you now.
Yeah. So America's Test Kitchen has some sort of a fat separator deal
Huh?
where you can like open up the bottom and it lets the juice come out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I bet that pancake maker would work. So I put everything in it and the fat like rose to the top and then the juice was
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So I just hit that button so all the juice falls out.
Yeah.
And then you keep all the juice to make your gravy with, but then when you get to the fat,
Yeah.
you use that fat to put in the pan to
Oh my
like cook
god.
everything. So it's like
Fuck
3
yes,
tablespoons of
dude.
that fast. You cook everything up, then you put the flour in there. You kind of make a roux out of all this stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Then you add that juice back in and kind
No
of like
way,
yeah.
dude.
So then you stir it all up and then you add water into that and stuff and it was a good gravy.
Yeah.
Good gravy.
I bet it
But
was. Because I'm following you. We just made pulled pork um with ham hocks. So the
oh, the
yeah, yeah,
feet.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you could imagine what came out of that. And we
Mhm.
watched the fat rise to the top and then we basically we cooled it in the fridge and then we basically held the fat back and just added the juice. But
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's just like a quarter inch of uh fat sitting on the top
Right.
and eventually we ended up throwing like we broke a little bit apart and threw it in with the whole thing because it wasn't just ham hocks. That was the start. But the
Mm.
fat that rose to the top from the ham hocks and it did it
Yeah.
so fast. And yeah, it's a similar thing. So I'm picturing everything you're saying in my head and going like, yeah,
Yeah, dude.
the
It
fat
was
will
good.
rise to the top and then you just drop everything out of the bottom and then the fat will just be there. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, and
That's so
um,
awesome.
like, it uh, the reason I think that the acidity would go well with it, like, the gravy was good, but because of the dry brine, the bird was already salty, so, like, that with the gravy, I thought was a
Right.
little bit salty. We didn't have
Yeah.
mashed potatoes. We kinda everybody brings their own thing, and we kinda did
Yeah.
whatever. So nobody had mashed potatoes, but later in the week, we had made a pork loin and had mashed potatoes with that, and I
Oh,
had
yeah.
that gravy with mashed potatoes, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, this is so fucking good." Yeah,
I bet.
and
I
then
bet it was.
so we've said here about like the bird, and I said like I wanted to make this bird, for these people too. I told them
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this turns out well, and then I get to take over cooking the turkey duty at Thanksgiving.
At family
So it turned
Thanksgiving,
out
right?
so it turned
Yeah.
out super well. And
Yeah, dude.
I text my mom and she says like, "Hey," or she said first, she goes, "Do you guys want to have a regular like noon Thanksgiving or like a 2 o'clock Thanksgiving?" And that was a
Okay.
random ass question. Me and my wife were like, "Oh, noon? Why would we move it to 2? What's going on here?"
Yeah, what is okay.
Dude, nobody knows. I don't know.
Oh,
And then
okay.
she
You never figured that out. I was, like,
uh-uh.
waiting for a big reveal or
Yeah,
something.
not at all. Like she like group texted me and my wife and my sister,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
all of us were like, "Lunchtime?
You're
Like
like
normal? We can do normal with lunchtime?" And
you're like,
she's
"I'm
like,
not
"I
sure."
asked dad and he's okay with 2 if you guys want to go that route." And we're like, "No, we're all good with lunchtime." I don't I don't know. And then she's like, "We're gonna do fish this year." And
Oh,
instantly my wife was like, "Fuck
really?
that. I'm not going to Thanksgiving." And then that's just my mom's weird ass humor. She's like, "No, we're still making turkey." Like,
Okay,
"Oh,
okay.
good one, mom. Got us."
Oh,
And then
man.
yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
And I was just like, "Cool. Like, what kind of fish?" Like, I
Right, right, right.
my wife's not gonna like it, but whatever. Let's do some fish. And then so
It's
after
so
that,
funny.
I after that, I say, "Well, guys, I made a turkey. It turned out awesome, and I would love to make turkey for you guys." And my mom responds back, "I'll make the turkey."
That's it.
So
Just that's the response you get.
I lose.
Yep, yep.
And then
You
she's
can't
like,
do that. You're just like, "That's mom
"Yeah,
rules right there."
no." And then she's like, "Maybe you can. We have another frozen turkey in the freezer. Maybe we can make that like some other time in the winter." And I'm like, "Sure." And I'm hoping like I'll
Yeah,
show you. Here's what a turkey is. And then she goes,
right.
maybe like January or February. And it's like, it's exactly what I want. I want to waste a whole weekend prepping and making a turkey for you just so I can make the turkey next year at Thanksgiving and ruin one of my ice fishing weekends. Like
Yeah, and I was gonna say,
whatever weekend I have nothing going on, let's just shut
let's just
that
go over
shit
to mom's and make a turkey.
shut that shit down so I can get the starting position as turkey maker next year, the Thanksgiving Bowl.
Oh my god.
uh,
Oh, that's so funny.
it'll be worth it
Oh,
though. I don't want
it
to try
it
turkey anymore.
Oh man. That's so good. I was gonna say when you were when you said the fish thing, I was like, man, you set
Yeah.
me up. Like I was just like, you just set me up. Because as promised, I looked up
Mm-hmm.
steelhead versus trout or steelhead trout
Yeah.
versus salmon. And I said, I'm coming with a recipe. We're gonna talk cooking. It's Thanksgiving. Because the last
Oh yeah.
episode, we just talked steelhead and rainbow trout.
Yes, sir.
We talked a little bit about salmon and how it looks the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh hell yeah. After looking this up, I'm kind of like, man, yeah, trout or salmon. This should be at Thanksgiving.
Right.
I, I have some new family additions to Thanksgiving this year, and I'm thinking, wonder if they eat fish because I think I want to do this.
Yeah. You have
It's
new
oh yeah, my
like
mom and well, I think my mom, I assume my mom and my sister have companions now that will be joining us.
oh, I thought you were gonna talk about dishes. Like I was gonna say, I know you make a what do you say, a pumpkin risotto?
Oh yeah, a squash risotto.
Squash risotto.
Squash. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yep, yeah, that was the one I talked about last year.
Yeah.
And it's like been the new addition. You know, it's like been the only new addition in how many years. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I wonder if fish, because it's not that a turkey doesn't make enough, but like just I don't know. I like the thought of
A-
having fish, a big
another
red fish on the table.
yeah, another protein option is never a bad thing.
That's what I've been thinking. That's like the
Yeah.
way I think about it because I don't actually eat that much turkey because it's dry as fuck. And
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Not mine, man. I'm telling you, this.
no, I totally believe you do.
I was amazed. Like you, if anybody out there, you gotta try that shit. I'm no wizard. I know how to cook. This is just
Yeah,
simple science. Just put
yeah.
some stuff on there and let it sit.
Well, that's the part. And when I get into the recipe that I looked up, I looked up multiple and combined them too. And now I've never done my version. I'm gonna lean on you a lot to actually back me up on this because I know you cook a lot of salmon. And spoiler alert, you cook them the same. But before I do
Oh yeah,
that, I got this from the Baltimore Sun, and I wanna like give a little background on it because you said it in the last episode too. You're like, "Have you seen the flesh? Have you seen this when they're cut open?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're like
yeah,
identical."
right. I was
It fucked me
surprised.
up,
Yeah,
and that's like, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was very surprised. Like I don't know if they have to be in the same area to get that same colored flesh. Like they're not all that same color, but I think all
Yeah,
salmon, as long as they're not farm raised, are that pink color. And I've seen
yeah,
trout other colors, but then when you pull it up, I'm just like, damn, I didn't know they look like that.
it's
So
crazy.
like it,
It's It's absolutely nuts.
Very, very similar.
Yeah, and so the two things that I found about that is salmon's farmed way more, and you already said this earlier, is that salmon is like in the farms almost always they feed it or dye it red essentially by what they're feeding it. Steelhead not farmed so much because it's just not popular. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, like when you go in the like canned section of
Mhm.
like the canned meats,
Yep.
salmon and tuna. Like those
Right.
are the top two fish.
Yeah, for
There's no
sure.
such thing as canned trout. I mean,
No.
maybe there is, but you're not finding it at Walmart. You gotta go to a specialty store for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say your normal like Midwestern grocery store does not have that. You're dead on. And I'm not saying that steelhead is more like it. There was nowhere in this Baltimore Sun article did it say like, well, if you buy steelhead trout, that means you're getting more wild caught. It's just like, no, go to a place that marks that wild caught, farmed. Like that's how you're really gonna get it. Just because there's less steelhead that are farmed doesn't mean that there's more wild caught versus the salmon just because salmon is very common to be farmed.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so whatever, it has something to do with the color and the flesh and whatever. But there it leads all the way back to that when you said, well, things are just marked wrong. Like
Right.
the majority of fish is marked wrong, and it's just like, oh yeah, people totally sell steelhead trout as salmon. It happens, dude.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
I'm
it happens. Like this article basically flat out said that. And they said there was this one fish market owner. They said, oh, yeah, steelhead just confuses people. And because it's like a salmon cousin, we just started
right.
putting salmon on it.
Right. I was just gonna say that, like, if you put steelhead trout on it, people that don't know, like I didn't know what color it looked like,
Sure.
but I know it's good eating fish. I know
Yeah,
that.
right. Mm-hmm.
But if I walked into a fish market and I wasn't quite sure, like I said, tuna and salmon. Salmon's like the most popular freshwater fish there is.
Right.
And if you put salmon on the sticker, people are gonna be like, "Ooh, salmon,"
Right.
and they'll snatch that shit up easy.
Yeah. And this one market, they just flat out acknowledged it. They were like, "Oh no, we used to put steelhead on there, but like
Right.
people always would ask what that is, steelhead." Ooh, and like they just had this, and I'm like, God damn it! People are such creatures of habit, or like they're just like given thing, and I'm like, come on, are you kidding me?
Dude, it's
Like,
crazy. The English of everything is nuts. It's just like the cuts of meats nowadays.
oh
Where a
yeah,
while back there was like all the different names, and all of a sudden they started calling it different shit.
huh?
Like I can't even think of the example, but for a while there was like these different cuts of meats, and all of a sudden they just changed the names on shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. They quoted in the article, or they referred back in the article about how spider crab. You ever
Oh
heard of
yeah,
spider
dude.
crab before?
I have, yes, but I
Okay,
can totally see why people are just like, no,
right.
thank you.
It's snow crab. So like they
Yeah,
can legally sell it as snow crab. And that's the thing, is like technically speaking, this market was wrong. Like they could be fined because they were marking steelhead as
sure,
salmon because it's not salmon.
right,
But they were
yeah,
just like, it's a cousin to salmon. It's it they basically said the look, taste, and texture. This is an exact quote. I had that in our notes. Look, taste, and texture are the same as salmon. And so then when they had to explain it, it was just like it became too much of a problem because they like people were just like turned off by the word steelhead. I
yeah.
don't If I see trout, like what the fuck? Steelhead trout. I don't care. It's trout. Like give me it. Like I don't know. I'm a different kind of person
I
when it
find it
comes to
hard to
food.
believe all those are the same too. Like that's what the people selling it are gonna say. They're not
Yeah.
gonna be like, it's close. They're gonna be like, it's the same thing.
Oh,
It's
I know.
I didn't rip you off. I gave you the same
Right.
fish. It's
I
just a
know.
different fish.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No.
I know. After all this, all I thought was, Tim, you said it best, and we have to say it again, and it's not going to be the last time we say it. Buy as much of the fillet, as much of the fish as you can, because you're going to be able to tell the difference. That silvery skin, like there's
Yep.
a big difference between a salmon and a steelhead. You're going to be able to tell the difference. Buy it like that. All the
Get that
recipes I
skin
looked
on
up,
it.
they were like skin on, skin off, whatever. Skin on.
Yeah. I
Buy the
cook.
fucking thing skin on.
Yeah. And everything. The only ways I cook it are with the skin on, and I love cooking it with the skin on, man. It
Yeah.
makes me feel so much better about like if you go skin off and you want to get a good sear, like you're doing like a like a tuna, and you want to get a good sear on the meat, then
Yeah.
I can see what you're trying to do. But
Right.
I love
Right.
the opportunity to like have that skin on and be able to
Yep.
put it directly on the grill and not have to worry about it getting singed and burned and
And
fucked up.
fucking up the flesh,
Whatever.
the meat, the
Yeah,
actual edible part. Mm-hmm.
I can fuck up with that skin all I want. I eating that shit.
Right. Right. I actually eat the skin sometimes, but so okay, my for my cooking portion of the Thanksgiving special,
Mm-hmm.
I looked up actually tin. That's an old way of saying it. Aluminum foil wrapped and
Tinfoil. I
baked
still say tinfoil.
fish. I know, me too. I totally do, but I was just like, I don't know. I feel for some reason in public, like on a public broadcast, I was like, yeah, it's aluminum. Anyways, so I looked up a
Aluminium.
foil wrapped baked fish, and I went that way because it's cold up here and the oven's already warm because of the bird.
Yeah.
So that was my big thing. Is like, hey, you want to know? This is why I want to add it to my Thanksgiving tradition, and it probably is not going to go over well because none of the girls eat fish. But the point is that it takes like 15 to 20 minutes in the oven. And it's just like, yeah, you already got the oven going. When the bird comes out, right? Like you talked about how the bird has to rest. It's just like,
Yeah.
this takes 15 to 20 minutes. The oven's already warm. Like the prep is so easy. I was just like, you know how simple it would be to just throw 5 pounds of fish on the table? Maybe that's excessive weight, but you know what I mean?
Nah, that's not excessive.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it depends on how many people you have there. If I
Right. But just a general fillet, like, a salmon, a steelhead trout and a salmon, similar cuts. The steelhead a little bit smaller,
Yeah,
give or take.
that's probably
But
like it's probably if you're talking like one fillet, I'm probably looking a good sized fillet, maybe like 2 pounds, two
okay.
pounds of meat.
Yeah. Which isn't crazy. So I was
You can
just like,
definitely get bigger.
oh, for sure, for sure.
Sorry, not trying to cut you off. Instead of people are just like 2 pounds, just like nah. If you're going to the supermarket, 2 pound, pound and a half to 2 pound
Yeah.
piece of meat, probably what
Yeah.
you're gonna find.
Right. So my thing is just like, hey, the oven's on. Add fish to your Thanksgiving because it's going to take 15, 20 minutes in the oven. I bet you no more than 30 minutes with prep. Go get a steelhead. Support the steelhead
Yeah,
market because, man, it just seems so strange to
is
me.
yeah.
Like it
But
just seems weird to me because it's going to
one,
be cheaper.
yeah.
So
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say one thing I would say though is if you got some people that are super against fish, maybe not do it because even if they don't eat it, that whole
Mhm.
house is smelling like fish.
Even so, yes, this is also where I was going to lean on you because I know that you cook a decent amount of fish. Um, the the oven version, yeah, the making of a fish in a piece of foil, closing it up, going into the oven. That still does
hmm
produce a fishy smell, huh?
Yeah, I mean, with the foil, I bet it probably smells less.
Okay. So you
But you
haven't really
can't,
done the oven baked foil closed up version?
not with the fish, no.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like, I've done that with other stuff, and you can't really avoid the smell. It's like it still
Yeah.
gets out, dude. It's like
Yeah.
you just can't hold it all back. But
Yeah. Fish is fish. I got you.
fish is fish. Yeah,
Yeah.
even with like one thing I do wrap in tinfoil is ribs,
Mm-hmm.
and I can still smell the ribs like crazy.
Sure. And just
But
this big slab of fresh fish out
yeah,
is gonna go on.
and
Yeah.
you
Okay.
have other foods. Like it's not gonna be like gross.
Right.
It's just that like it's a specific smell, and some people that don't like fish normally really don't like fish.
They're really turned off by the smell. You
Yeah,
make a good point. You make a really, really good point that
that's the
I yep.
yeah, that's the only thing. Is it like it? Some people would be like, yeah, it's not my thing. I'm all right.
Mhm.
Like I won't. But some people are just gonna be like, fuck
Fuck
that.
that smell. You
What the
can't
fuck?
do that.
Yeah.
So I looked up. So all these recipes that I looked up, they basically were just like you could steelhead salmon, or you could steelhead trout, or you could salmon. Like it's interchangeable. It was just one of the big things that I took away. Is
That's
just
crazy
like,
to me.
yeah, man, they're like the same. I think we have to find some steelhead. I really think we
Oh,
do.
for
Like me and
sure.
you, next time we hang out, I think we go find
Mhm.
some steelhead and we cook it up to try to really like put an end to all this shenanigans.
We gotta smoke them and
Oh, hell yeah.
eat them fresh out of the smoker because I don't know if you've ever had it. I've had it one time so far because I kind of fucked it up last time. I did like some sort of a brine, and I think I talked about it a little bit last time on
Mhm.
the podcast that the
Mhm.
salts measure different. I thought I talked about that last time.
I don't know if it was last time, but you're definitely saying
But
familiar shit.
the salts measure difference. That's one thing too. Going back to that brine as well. Make sure you know how your salts measure because my salt, I actually needed a full uh, tablespoon less than what the recipe called for because my kosher salt measured different
Yes.
than some of the other salts. So I have
Whether we talked about this on the podcast or not, we definitely talked about it because yep, kosher salt big rocks
yeah,
compared to like
yes.
traditional
Yep,
table salt.
and I
It's way
have
fucking
the
different.
yeah, and I have the Maury's kosher salt,
Yep.
which is even more so than diamond crystal kosher salt, I guess. Like
Oh, okay. I
I
didn't know that.
found it on yeah, I found it online and mine was like the most potent. Like you need the least of that kind. So I'm
Of
really
that
glad I looked
kind. So
into it.
you really went overboard.
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
that's
that's
yeah,
funny.
that one salmon I made it was like unedible. I was like, Jesus, this
Oh,
is the
damn.
saltiest fish I've ever had. So that's the only one I've ever smoked on my own. But we went to um my in-laws
Mhm.
have the town that they live in. A lot of people get together and they do like this little smoker fest deal. And it's just like
Oh, nice.
six or
Mhm.
seven families I think get all
Yep.
together and they call it smoker fest, but it's just everybody smoking meats.
Yep.
And they had salmon that came fresh out the smoker and it was like the
Yep.
candied salmon and oh
Oh,
dude, I
oh,
love
fuck
candied
yeah.
salmon the way it is, but when it's warm fresh out the smoker,
Yeah.
dude, it was so good.
I
And
bet. I bet.
also like I was super fucked up, so
Lots
that
of
was
whiskey that night or
dude
afternoon.
I we it was smoker fest, so we were just sitting there smoking meats. I
Yeah.
drank
And drink it.
I I I regret some of that shit. Like I'm not the kind of guy that blacks out and really forgets anything, but I totally
Right.
the next day I'm like, Jesus, I was stupid. You know? I had
Yeah.
like a full 12 pack and then they had this like
Holy crap.
Panther Distillery uh clear
Oh, yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah.
Dude, and
They're out of Minnesota here somewhere.
it's so
Northern.
fucking bad. They I'm sure their actual whiskey's fine, but I've had a couple of different like non-aged, like the whiskeys that are clear. They're
Yeah.
all fucking terrible. Every single
Yeah.
one of
I've
them.
never had a good clear whiskey
They're
either.
so bad, dude.
Yeah.
And I
It's like
remember,
shitty vodka, and
dude, I
vodka's
remember
really
it's
shitty.
worse than shitty. It's worse. It is so bad. I remember exactly how I described it. And the guys there were laughing their ass off and told me the next day, like, do you even remember? I don't think I could tell you what it was. And I know you don't remember. I'm like, no. I remember exactly what I said. This is like you aged rubbing alcohol in a cardboard box and then infused a fucking Nerf ball. That's what it
That
tastes
Nerf ball
like.
smell too is just like such a distinct thing from
Oh,
childhood.
so distinct. And the taste. I don't know why, but I remember biting those things a lot.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't know, dude.
Dumb
It's just
kids.
got
Dumb
like a
kids.
springy feel.
It feels cool.
Yeah, so I remember biting it, and seriously, that's what it tasted like. Rubbing alcohol aged in a cardboard box infused with a Nerf ball. And I drank way too much of that, and then yeah, shit was just stupid that night. But that
But we have to
aside,
recreate that. We're gonna
it was
recreate that salmon with a steelhead. I think that's what we have to do. Our
well,
search.
we'll probably have to just recreate that whole night. Make sure the salmon's good. Me and you would just drink beer and smoke meat all day, and then when it gets time to eat the salmon, we'll switch over to shitty whiskey.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah.
Not Thanksgiving though. Let's not
Hmm.
do that for Thanksgiving. Let's just pick a random day and do
No,
that.
this will just be a meat smoking Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Take off of work. Getting
So
shit faced and smoking meats today. Might want to take out the next day too.
might want to just make it a 2-day day off thing. So when okay, so one thing I couldn't figure out, and I want to know your thoughts because you said you grill this, and then I'll get into my recipe finally. These are pretty fatty fish, right? Like a salmon, when
Yeah.
you grill, it's naturally fatty, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're naturally fatty. Yeah,
So
and you
all of
want
these recipes were just like full of butter. And I definitely have a butter recipe for this. But
yeah.
like, what do you think about that? I just kind of wanted to throw that out there and be like, what's up with that?
Oh, I bet it's good. And I bet it
Just
kind
because
of
butter's
works as like
dope.
a barrier to keep the fat in as well. Cause I know like when you're smoking meat, you don't want it to get it to a certain point because
Mm-hmm.
then the fat starts coming out.
It
Like
like it
I
seeps
can't
out almost, right?
yeah, I can't remember the term for it, but there's a certain point where like if you look at the meat and it's got like this white shit on it, then
Yeah.
you've like gone too far because that's the fat like coming out, getting
Yeah.
cooked
I've
out.
totally seen salmon like that. So okay.
Yeah.
So I
So you
fucked
want
up a
it
couple salmon. Whoop, my bad.
well, I mean that's when you're smoking it. I think when you cook it in the oven, there's not much you can do because you're trying to cook it a lot faster. You know, when you're cooking the salmon,
Oh,
you want to try to like
slow and slow.
yeah, slow. And I don't know
Right.
if
Right.
that's why I was thinking like searing it probably stops that. And I
Mm,
would think maybe putting the butter on it
gotcha.
does too, because that almost
Sure.
gives it like a
Like a fat
barrier.
coating, like its
Yeah,
own
like so it
fat,
can't
like coating to
yes.
keep the fat in. Okay, good, very
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I we don't know the science, but we're not fucking Elton Brown or America's Test Kitchen. But that's exactly what we're here to talk. That's it, dude. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So, okay, foil bacon. Here we go. I did read up on the skin. I'm going to get
Oh,
back to the skin, right? Because it said skin on, skin off, blah, blah, blah. Well, the skin's going to get gross inside the foil. That's all there is to it. It's going to
yeah.
get soggy and nasty, but who cares? Because the meat just fucking peels right off. So get the skin on again
Yeah.
so you know what you're buying.
It's gonna steam it.
Yeah. And the skin's going to be gross.
I gotta say, if anybody was watching and saw a confused look on my face,
Mm-hmm.
you were saying foil baking, and I heard
Yeah.
foil bacon, and I'm like, what the fuck is foil bacon? And then I realized it right away. Foil
My bad.
bacon.
My bad. Yeah.
No, no,
I
it's
should have pronounced my words.
I just heard it. I'm like, what the fuck is foil bacon? I never heard of this. I was intrigued
Right.
for a second and confused, and then
Right. We were
so if
talking
anybody
about
saw
bacon
that look
earlier,
on my
so I get
face, that's what it was.
it. Oh, funny. Okay. So when I think you can back me up on this one is there's going to be different ways of cooking it or different lengths. So it's hard to put like a time on it, but the 15 to 20 minutes because
Oh,
it depends on how thick it is, right? Like your fillet, it's a fish, man. It's going to be you got to just poke at it. It'll fall off. That's what I'm saying with the skin. It's like
yeah,
it just
fish is
flakes
nice like that.
apart.
Yeah, fish
These
flakes when
muscles
it's
on these
done.
fish.
Mhm.
It's so
Yep.
cool.
That's the other thing, like with a dude, there's so many different things that I'd like to do with turkeys to try some of these recipes. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Really?
I mean, I've always heard of the juices running clear, but
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay is like, you just poke the thigh, and if the juices run clear, it's done.
No
If they're
shit.
pink, it's not. Ja- Jacques Pepin, he he like cuts the tip of the drumstick off,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's like, when the tendon pulls in, then it is done.
No way.
And you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And he's like, plus there's no tendon, and it's better. You're like, oh yeah, Jock, you fucking
Yeah,
man.
you get it.
And oh, I took another thing from him
Mhm.
because you throw the giblets in. I forgot about the gravy. You throw the giblets and the neck in
Yep.
with the
Yep.
gravy, like you brown that stuff up.
Yep.
But Jacques is like, this is where I throw in the giblets and the neck, but the liver I sear up and enjoy with a wine. That's the chef's
Oh,
prize or whatever. And I'm like,
really?
fuck yeah, but Jacques, here we go.
All
And I
right. I'm
just
in.
seared it. I seared it up in the turkey fat,
Yeah.
and then I had it with some of the Chardonnay that I had for putting into the wine too.
Right. To
And I
put
don't
in the
really like
gravy.
Chardonnay, but that's what I had, and I'm just
Right.
like,
Right.
hell's
Right.
yeah, Jacques, here we go. And dude, I didn't do
Not
shit
bad.
to that. I didn't do shit to that liver except for like sprinkle a little bit of garlic salt on it afterwards because it was like this pretty bland by itself.
Yep.
Should have seasoned this, put a little bit of garlic salt on it, and I ate it, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude.
No way.
It, I gotta
I'm
try
doing that
foie.
this year.
I know it's people have problems with it because it's unethical and stuff. But if I ever get a chance to try foie gras, I'm going after that shit. Because
Yeah.
if a just a seared turkey liver is that good with a
Yep.
little bit of salt,
What does a fatty, fucked up, fatty goose liver taste like? I'm
prepared by
in.
a
I'm
professional
with you,
chef,
dude.
because you're only getting foie gras at like a Michelin star restaurant.
Right, right, right. Hey
Oh
man,
hell
I'm right
yeah!
there next to you. I know there is some weird efficacy things around it, but hey, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh dude, I'm trying it. If you got it, you already did it. Let's
Right.
not let it waste. Go to waste.
Yeah. Don't want it to go bad. Okay. I want to go to the butter. I want to get to the butter part of my recipe because all these people that did the butter, I was like, your
Yeah.
butter recipe's a fucking joke. I got one. Because they weren't doing anything to it. They were just like, melt the butter, put the garlic in it. And I'm like, man, you're fucking up. Don't melt the butter and put the fucking. Okay, here's what I did. And I've done this part before. So I know I said I didn't make the fish, but I did this part before because we had something else that we cooked with the butter. So I have a garlic butter. It's a garlic shallot butter. You got to
Mm.
get a stick of butter, melt that shit over low heat. Just, stir it a few times, but low heat. Just let that thing melt into the bottom of the pan.
Oh
And as
hell
it's like
yeah.
almost done, you get those finely chopped garlic, like real garlic. Don't fucking, nothing against granulated garlic, garlic powder, none of that. Nothing, no shade here. But you gotta fresh garlic. You get the shallot, chop them up, get them pretty small, throw them in that now melted butter. Once you do that, you gotta do a little bit more heat and just keep stirring it. Let it bubble, let it cook. Don't brown it though. Make sure it doesn't brown. That's why you got to keep stirring it. Because when you start getting, like, when you cook that garlic and the shallot into the butter like that,
Oh
you're
yeah.
basically sautéing the shallot and the
Yeah.
garlic in the butter, but you're not cooked, like, you're not getting it all the way down, right? Because the butter would brown and you would start to cook it and like saute it, and like it's not all the way. Just don't, whatever you do, don't let it brown.
Yeah.
And
And
then go
cooking
ahead,
those
go
in the
ahead.
butter, I was gonna say too, it's got to be way easier to not fuck up the garlic. And
Yes.
onions harder to fuck up,
Yes.
but you can. But garlic is real easy to burn.
Really easy to burn. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. And that's why I'm like, you're not sauteing it, because like sauteed garlic is a little burnt usually. But that's the thing,
Right.
is don't let the garlic turn brown, and don't let the butter turn brown. You got to keep going, and that's why you got to keep it on that like medium low heat, but let it butter, because or let it bubble, because that means water's leaving the butter. And so you're getting
Yes.
more concentrated, and all those fucking flavors
Oh,
are going into the butter.
yeah.
When you're done with that, dude, pour it. And this is something you got to do before. Like, do this in the morning, right? And get ready for the fish to close out the cooking process. Because pour that butter in a glass container, put it in the fridge, let it get hard. And then it's going to harden up, and you're going to seriously have a garlic shallot butter. And ooh, fuck, it's good. Fuck, it's good.
You can use it on anything.
You could use it on the
Man.
turkey even.
Dude, garlic shallot butter, man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you do it early enough, you can pull it out and just rub it under the skin, like you were talking about, of the turkey, even, because
I bet
I
that
said
shit would
full
be good
stick.
on
Use a full
toast.
stick.
I'm
Did you just say put it on toast?
Dude, I bet it would be good on toast, man. Garlic shallot
I have
butter
some
on
in the fridge
toast.
right now. I might do that in the morning.
It's like a garlic bread. I'm just having garlic toast in the morning.
I
Ooh.
seriously might try that now.
Sounds
Didn't
good,
even think
man.
of it. So with the fish, then, again, I'm combining recipes and then just going off of this, and I haven't done it. I keep saying that because if this sucks, hit us up. You know how to find us, Real AFTV, on the social medias, Real Like Fish and Real, and let us know, because use the same seasonings as the bird. You don't need all of them, right? Get the rosemary, get the thyme, right? Like,
Yeah.
get those bird seasonings too. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need all of them for the bird. Just set a little bit aside for the fish that's coming up. So in the bird, it says 375 for the fish, which is like decent. Have you haven't really baked a fish, right?
I don't think so. No, I've broiled fish before, but that's just like reverse grilling.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is something you can do with this recipe too, is you at the end, you can just kind of like do the reverse grill on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would necessarily recommend that. Like my this recipe that I've sort of concocted for this podcast, I didn't include it on there. So yeah, anyways, get the oven down to 375. When you get out the foil, right? You got to oil it up, because you're not going to eat the fucking skin. That's the thing. But you got to make sure
Right.
it doesn't stick either, because
Yeah.
that can be
Oil the
a twist.
foil.
Yeah, yeah. Now who's got the rhymes?
That's a shirt.
Well,
Oil
the
the
foil.
foil.
Um, the recipes, they did say, melt the butter, then throw the garlic, and I was like, what the fuck, man? No. But I would, for this, take the garlic shallot butter that's hard in the fridge, and melt it
Mm-hmm.
down, but do that shit on medium, because otherwise you're gonna start boiling it off again, right? And that's not the point. You can burn butter in the microwave, or you can really change butter in the microwave.
You could blow butter the fuck up in the microwave. Be careful.
What? Tell me more
if you
about that.
if you're trying to melt it and you're trying to melt it fast, you put it on and it's not covered, it'll literally just like if there's like an air pocket or whatever, I don't know what causes it, but every once in a while
Oh,
you just hear
sure.
like a boom, and all of a sudden just
Boom.
like boom, there's just your microwave is just covered in butter. You're like, damn it.
Shit.
I have no melted butter I can use, and now I have a giant
Right.
mess to clean up.
Yes. Yes. I've seen small versions of what you're talking about. I think there are air bubbles inside it.
Yeah,
And
I've done
so,
it before. Like not, like you put like a couple of tablespoons in like a little chafing dish almost. Like I just need
yeah.
melted butter, to brush on whatever,
Yeah.
and just like boom. Now I got no butter. Let's
So
start
when you take
over.
the garlic shallot butter out of the fridge, that's why. Do it on medium. Do it low and slow. Just get it liquid again, because again, this has already been infused from the cooking process. So it's not like you just threw raw garlic and butter. That's not the point. Throw it on top. Bam. because you already got this
Bam.
fillet laying in, to emerald. To emerald this shit.
Mhm.
You got the fish laying in the foil. And in this case, steelhead. Let's try steelhead, everybody. Come on. Boom. You dump the
Let's
butter on
do it.
top. You get some salt on the fish. Don't forget to salt it. Unless you have really salted butter. I never unsalted butter. I'm always just like get the salt. Salt is perfect. It's so good for everything.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like if you got a recipe that you don't want, like if you're adding salt to it,
Mm-hmm.
if you're adding
Yeah.
salt to the butter, then like I
Right.
had
Good
salted
point.
butter to put
I think
in the
it's more for
turkey.
baking, right? Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, I think probably, yeah, if you're trying to, which salt in your baked goods a lot of times works too. Like you want a
It
little bit of
does.
salt in there.
It does.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
ice cream calls for salt.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I had salted butter, but I didn't add any salt. So just know what you're dealing with there because I salted the
Right.
bird. So that's another
Yep.
thing too, like
Mm-hmm.
with us mixing and matching parts of the recipes that we like,
Yep.
just make sure you think stuff through like that when you're doing it. Like if you like one
Yeah.
where it says put salt here and then your
Mm-hmm.
next recipe says like put salt in this, like
Mm-hmm.
these people didn't do this together before. Don't
Right.
oversalt your bird. You can always add salt later.
That's
Don't fuck it
right.
up and
Get a
oversalt
nice
it.
You're right. So when I said salt the fish, you're right. I should have said just get a nice sprinkle of like fine kosher salt on top of that fish. Don't overdo it. Just a good pinch. Because the butter I would use salted butter. I did use salted butter in this
Yeah.
case. So, don't overdo it. You can add salt at the table. Not always does the same thing. But anyways, let's not do So then get those herbs, right? Get the
Yeah.
herbs, the same herbs that you're using on the bird, and just fucking give them a good chop. Throw them on there. Throw them in whole. It doesn't matter. I would chop them. That's my thought. Tim, lemon. Back to the lemon, the acid.
Yeah.
Definitely have to have the lemon. No skipping the fucking lemon on the fish. Rule number
No.
1, don't skip the lemon
Yeah.
on the fish. On the seafood in general is my
Right.
thought.
Yep.
So you get the lemon, slice it up, throw it on top of the fish. Second lemon, cut that bitch in half. Squeeze half of it on top of the fish. Hold on to the other half. You're going to want that fresh lemon juice when this thing comes out of the oven.
Oh yeah.
I love putting fresh lemon. Like, you ever had a lobster tail without lemon on it?
Yeah, I
It's
think
still
so.
it's still good.
With the butter. Like I've
Yeah,
never had it dry.
right. Okay.
I've had it like you dip it in the butter.
Sure. Either way,
But
spritz it with some lemon and it just
I
charges it
can't
up.
remember the last time I've had just lobster.
Yeah,
I'm
me
like
neither.
all about that lobster, dude.
That's it, man. That's my recipe. Like, I can't think of a better way to wrap it up than that's what you do with the fish. You wrap it up.
You
Don't
wrap it up.
wrap it like a fucking Christmas present. Leave a little space in there. Don't wrap it super tight
Yes.
in the foil.
Right. Leave
Throw it
some
in the oven and let it
space.
happen. So,
Let that air circulate a little bit.
yeah, you gotta let that butter breathe. Let that fat do its job. Let that steam.
Wrap.
Let's still tell the people where they can find us. It's realaf.tv. If you're looking for us on the internet, it's real like fish and reel.
Yeah.
And just go look that same thing up on all the social medias, except for TikTok, man. We're just not on there yet. But if you kids are out there listening and you want us on the TikToks, find us on the other ones. Go over to the Instagrams. I know you're on the Instagrams if you're on the TikToks.
I mean, you could follow us on TikTok. It exists. We just don't do anything.
We just don't do anything there. It's there. I mean, you could find it.
Yeah.
You should be able to find it.
Yep.
Just no content.
I don't know how people find you, dude. I have other people
still kind of a mystery.
that follow me on TikTok that like know who I am. It must be like, oh, this person in your contacts is on TikTok. I've never done shit on TikTok. I like started an account just to see what it was all about.
Right.
And I'm just like, this is the same thing as Instagram Reels. And I'm already on Instagram, and I know Reels came out after TikTok, but I'm not
Right.
trying to jump platforms
But
to
you're
see the
like, I don't
same
know.
shit.
Right. Oh shit, that reminds me. Let's wrap up, Tim. I'm just going to be pretty quiet. I'll do minimal comments, but you sent me a reel recently. It was perfectly related to Thanksgiving. So let's just wrap up and fade out on this
Faded.
recipe. This is our cooking recipe. In case anybody's listening, like First We Feast or anybody who needs more content, we're available. We'll make some fishing content about food.
Shit,
Tim,
yeah, I'll eat hot wings while I talk.
I'll eat hot fish while fishing.
I'll do the one chip challenge while we talk, but nobody wants to hear that crunching.
I'll do the one chip challenge while catching walleye.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a plan.
But Tim, why don't you close out the Thanksgiving special for
It was.
2021? Thank you, everybody, for coming to our house.
Thank
Coming to the
you.
Real AF TV studios.
Yes, thanks for coming. Grab a parting gift, which is, I don't know, us on Instagram, I guess. I don't. I just started talking, and then I was like, shit. Sounds like I'm actually offering something. I have nothing to offer.
We have nothing to offer except for the podcast for free. Thank you.
Yeah, unless
All
you're a
you get.
Patreon member.
Nice one, Tim. Nice one.
With,
Oh, wink,
yeah.
wink, wink, wink. All right.
Then you get
What
stuff. But
this?
okay.
Give us the long version because this reel is like 15 seconds and it didn't do full justice. You got to give us the
No,
description.
yeah. So
This
like
was so good.
you could pretty much do whatever you want here. So that's the crazy part. Like I've just never even thought of this as an option, but they took chicken legs and then at
You
the
could do it with the turkey leg too. That's what I was
you
thinking.
could do it with a turkey leg, but then you have to like buy a whole turkey leg. I don't think you can buy turkey legs.
You can.
You know,
You got
you
to look
might be
hard. But
yeah, but you can
but
go to the
anyways,
chicken
yeah.
section and get like 20 drumsticks for cheap, dude.
right.
There's like an abundance of dark meat out there because everybody, all the
Mhm.
healthy conscious people are just like, I only want the
Give me that
breast.
chicken breast.
Yeah, but I'm not like that exactly. Not all
We
the
eat
time.
so many thighs. It's crazy.
Dude, I love dark meat. It's so
Yep.
good. The day that they were like, McDonald's is going to all white meat chicken nuggets, I'm just like, you guys fucked up.
You fucked it
Give
up.
give me that chicken. I mean, I don't want beaks in there and shit. So I guess if you're going away from that, then good. But when they're like,
Okay.
just like it's all white meat. So yeah. Anyways,
Let's go. Okay. Quick audio description of this reel. It was so
chicken
good.
legs. Chicken legs. They take the chicken legs and they like cut the meat and then roll the meat up from.
They cut the meat right at the handle that is a drumstick. They cut it right at the tip.
So there's a tendon that goes all the way down there. It's like what we were talking about with Jacques that was talking.
Yeah.
If you snip that tendon, then you can roll up that meat, and they roll up that meat so it goes over the top of the bone or over the top of the leg.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this meat lollipop looking thing.
Yeah. That's what I thought they were going to do at first because that's a real thing. Like people make like these meat lollipops. But then what happened? Then
they take it and they put it in a bowl and they toss it in, like there's a couple of different sauces. Kind of like a little marinade that they get going on.
Mm-hmm.
They get the flavor in there, and then they take it and they like dredge it in some. I don't remember if it was like flour. I mean, like here's like just do whatever recipe you want at this point.
Right.
Dredge it in some flour, then
something
put
dry.
it. Yeah, and then it looked like they put it in cheese too.
That's what I thought they did. Yep.
Roll it in some cheese and then deep fried that whole thing. So then you have like these deep fried meat lollipops.
Yeah.
And it's the chicken leg like you would normally have it, except for like all the meat's right there. So you're getting like these nice bites. And then I mean, like you don't have the skin anymore. So that kind of sucks a little bit because I love the nice crispy skin, but at the same time, like you have this whole new thing. Like it's just a whole new experience.
Yeah.
And it looks so awesome to me.
It looks so cool.
I've never even thought about it before.
No, me neither.
I saw it.
Oh,
And
it is so
instantly
cool.
I'm like, bro, and I sent it to you like, look at this fucking thing.
I know.
Never even
And
thought about it.
I've seen meat lollipops, but not like this. Not the
Yeah,
way like
dude.
I've seen chicken rolled up like that, so, like, there is, like, literally a bone handle, but when it came down to they were dredging it, and then they put it in, like, cheese, and then they deep fried it, it was like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah.
That got so good.
And I just pulled it up just because, but I'm not trying to show anybody. But like, I'm watching it right now. And this is basically what I did. I pull it up, like it just restarted. I'm looking at it. I look at it. I go like this. I show it to my wife like this. I go, look at this. Look at it. And then I sent it to you. I just go, huh?
Oh,
Huh?
oh.
Oh.
Next
Dude, it
time we
literally
hang out,
says,
we're making chicken lollipops and smoked steelhead salmon
dude, I
trout.
legitimately didn't even read the comment because I got so excited. And I look at it now and it says chicken lollipop.
Oh yeah, I didn't read it either.
I
Yeah.
didn't, no, just
Oh.
got super excited about it. And I just sent it out there.
Yeah.
Oh, of
Like that
course.
cheese edition or that cheesy bread edition. That was like the kicker.
People are so goddamn stupid. I click on it. The first comment, somebody says, I'm disturbed. By what? You're eating the leg of another animal. Fucking get over it.
Yeah.
We've got
Okay,
to that
go
point
somewhere
already.
else. Obviously you're on the wrong channel. Like
Yeah.
how did dead meat end up on your feed, you vegan?
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with vegans for the most part. A lot of them are too loud, but that
But
is a
yeah,
good one.
if you try to make it at home though, I already thought about this too. You gotta knock that thing over after you cook it. Cause otherwise you gotta make sure that bone still gets in the oil.
Yep.
Because otherwise you didn't sanitize it.
Yep. I was just
You're
gonna say you
you're
drop
just
that thing in whole. You drop that
yeah.
whole fucking thing in that
Because
fryer.
otherwise you're eating your
Salmonella.
cooked chicken, but you got your finger on raw chicken bone.
Yep.
You eat that
Drop
whole
that thing
thing.
in.